The first things first, I'm just going to put in some basic skin tone, which is burnt sienna in this case. Now, I'm going to show you a little method called ruling, where you get a ruler, you put it up against the canvas where you want the straight edge, and you raise it just slightly like that, and you hold it firm with one hand, and then you can use your finger on this bit to guide that paintbrush mark. You see how it produces a lovely straight edge? This is called ruling. And I learned how to do this when I was a photographic retoucher many decades ago. These are going to be some rocks. And I get a mid sort of tonal grey. I'm just knocking the basic colour of this woman's gown that she's wearing. And put these cliffs in here, or headland. This is basic tone we're putting in, the basic colouring. Do it nice and messy if you want. Now we can go a little bit thicker with this paint here. Let's just put one or two little marks here in the sand. This is all going to be sand. We can get quite messy with this later. Dark colour again there, just to roughly and loosely put her hair in. We can come dark with that as well now there, because that's going to cast a shadow into her skin. Greyish blue tone. Going to be slightly lighter than her dress. A bit lighter still. Too worried about going over the edges of lines that you've made and put in, because we can always go back and reinforce those later on. Right. Again, we can go back to that ruling line, and we can always rule it again if we don't get it right. So that's not right. We will rule it again in a bit. Darker tone again. To be having a reflection in there. have a little bit of a highlight there on her knee. The same with this area here. What we'll have, I think we'll have it quite white up here. And as we come down closer, we'll get a little bit more burnt sienna in there. Some light. Bit of a cloud here. We can also use our fingers like that. And put some little marks here and there, because no sand is going to be perfectly flat. It's going to have all sorts of things on it. A little bit more Payne's grey there, just to make it a little bit denser and darker, a bit more blue. Don't worry about going over the figure. This is all refining this sky. It's going to be quite bright around her, around about there, because I want that figure to stand out. We just keep going with this until you're happy and satisfied. Now, because it's quite damp still, we can use our fingers to soften some of this. If it's starting to go off and a bit tacky, just give it a quick little spray. Like that. And there you go, one straight line, one horizon. Leave them to the end. Now, got some waves crashing up on these rocks here. We'll just a little hint here of these waves crashing. They're going to get more blurred as they go towards the distance. We're going a little bit lighter with this now. One or two little marks just to make it look a little bit more varied. And we get darker, more contrasty as we come towards the edge, because it's getting closer to us. be too precise about this. There's going to be hair falling down, so you know, lots of little hair falling down, so you don't have to be too precise about the outside edges, about the outlines. Well, I've got some dark on the brush. We'll just put some of these shadows in. Then we can come in with a lighter grey for where the highlight is going to be on this stone. Around the base of the stone. Now we also need that same colour for this shadow here. And then fade that off there. We can actually come in with a little bit more colour into that. We can use a very, very fine brush just to go in with a little slightly darker grey, only slightly. That might be even too dark. I'm just basically putting in a flat tone over the painting I've done, over the underpainting really. Right, we can go a little bit darker here and there. For instance, a waistline with a shoulder there. just start to put in one or two little hints. This is reflected light. And I'm just going to fade this, the top of this, down. With almost dry brush technique. So it just looks a little bit misty up there and hazy. Same here, so you'll have stray hairs that are coming out. It should have a that's better. That's better. And burnt sienna. Just go over a few of these little darker areas to show that they have shadows and highlights. They then start to look a little bit like little rocks or pebbles or shells. We can come down a little bit more with the colour. Not quite as light down here because it's darker. Just to create a little bit of a highlight there. Let's get some burnt sienna. Burnt sienna in there. Will give us a nice greenish tone to show that that's possibly got grass up there. Too light. It's still too light, too dark. So I'm just going to add a little few highlights to that. Just need to soften this edge here, so I'm just going to Blew that into that. And blew that into that. There. Then one or two little water lines. So I'm quite happy with that. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video and possibly learned one or two things. Let me know if you have any comments or questions that I may be able to help you with. And I look forward to you joining me on my next video. So until then, happy painting!